What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Rio Robinson back. It is draft eve, and I got my boy on the channel to do our annual mock draft, full first round mock. My boy Jalen Morgan from Bleeding B&G. How we feeling tonight, big dog?
Annual, bro. This the third year. We got a little skin in the game by now.
Hell yeah, we do.
Hopefully we can do better than last year. You know, we started out rolling like gangbusters that first year. Last year they kind of humbled us really quick, but hopefully we can do a little better this year.
Oh yeah, we definitely got humbled and set down by our mock draft. I think we went 2 for 32 last year. That shit was terrible.
Hey, that first year though, we even hit on the Commanders pick. So hey, so we this is gonna be a good episode, guys. We know what we talking about. Trust us. Even if we went 2 for 32 last year.
Oh yeah, we about to get on our real Kuiper and McVay shit. What up, Will? What up, Gerald? But we about to get right into it. I'm about to pull up the mock draft simulator, and we about to get into our full first round draft. Anything about this draft that stick out to you this year?
Of course, the quarterbacks. You know, 4 quarterbacks. I think they have the potential of going to the top 10. The quarterbacks and the tackles. I think that it's going to be a run of both of those. They're going to push some pretty good players down to at least Washington's level. And also the draft isn't crazy deep. Once you get to like the 3rd and 4th round, it's some guys that I really might be some undrafted free agents in some other draft years. But those are 2 things that stand out to me for sure.
Hell yeah. And as far as deep, the positions I'd say were deep in this class: tight end, cornerback, and maybe edge. Edge is pretty deep as well. It's a good it's not deep in like a lot of positions, especially at the skill player. Like the wide receiver class this year is getting no love at all.
I mean, compared to the last couple of years, when you compare them to a year like 2019, where you got Terry McLaurin, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, like, of course they're not going to get those acclaims. And then the year following with Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, I don't see any studs like that in this class. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that the wide receivers aren't getting much love. I would hate to have the need to get a wide receiver this year, and thankfully the Commanders don't.
Oh yeah, we don't. We got a receiver last year in the first round, which we all knew was coming when the Commanders were on the clock last year. And that Deebo and Terry and DK, AJ Brown class is crazy because none of them went in the first round. None of them went in the first.
None of them. But guess what? They all dogs though.
And they all got the bag already, man. They all got their second contract and got paid in a major way. Just to let y'all know, in this mock, I already put in there's a couple teams in spots that aren't normally there. We'll explain it. We made a couple trades we discussed previously, but we're going to get right into it. Jalen is going to be picking the odds 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, etc. I'll be picking the even picks. Let's get going on our mock draft, man. You are on the clock with Carolina. What we doing here?
All right, cool. With the first pick in the 2023 Rio and Stunners NFL mock draft, the Carolina Panthers select quarterback Bryce Young out of the University of Alabama.
Okay, we're on the board.
I just think that the writing's on the wall, man. You know, all the sports books say it. You even looked at Frank Reich's press conference that I believe he had yesterday. He was like, "Yeah, we have a consensus. We have a consensus, and we're pretty excited about it." And that just screams Bryce Young, especially with like the news about C.J. Stroud, you know, going through a downward spiral and things like that. I don't know if that's going to be relevant to this mock, but yeah, the writing's on the wall for Bryce Young to be the first pick to the Carolina Panthers.
And we're not worried about taking him 1 overall with the size because he's a baller, right?
I might be a little worried. I don't know if the Carolina Panthers are, though. Yeah, I had to take my heart out of this mock draft and put on my GM hat. So I think that they have definitely taken Bryce Young and might pair him with a couple weapons later in the draft.
Hell yeah. I know for sure I'm not thinking with my heart at all in this mock draft. I want to get some picks right because last year, we going to act like last year didn't happen, bro. We ain't hit on shit last year in last year's mock. So I'm coming up at number 2 with the Houston Texans. There is an obvious need for DeMeco Ryans' team at the quarterback position, but the streets are talking. The streets are talking a lot right now, and the streets are telling me they don't like CJ Stroud. Maybe they're using this cognitive test score where he apparently did absolutely terrible on, which I don't care about. I don't care what he gets on a test. I just want to know what he can do on a football field. But it could be the ownership, the agent thing. You know, he's represented by David Mulugeta and the whole saga they went through with Deshaun Watson. They don't want to deal with him, but the pick's not going to be a quarterback here at number 2. DeMeco Ryans is going to start his reign of coaching the Houston Texans with an edge rusher, you know? He has a guy, he just coached a guy named Nick Bosa, so he knows what it's like to coach a dominant edge rusher. He's going with the top edge rusher in this class, even though rumors are saying Tyree Wilson may get the hometown pick here at number 2. I'm going with Will Anderson Jr., absolute dog edge out of Alabama. Doesn't have the craziest sack production, but the dude is an all-around baller and has some of the best character in the class. And we're on the clock again with Houston at number 12. So who knows? We could go quarterback then. What do you think?
I love the Will Anderson pick. I might have him graded a little higher than Tyree Wilson, even though I'm starting to believe those Tyree Wilson and Houston rumors. He fits all the profile for DeMeco Ryans D lineman for sure. But I love the pick. High motor guy, a type of guy that's going to change the culture of your team for sure.
Hell yeah. What up, Zach? What up, brother? What up, Cherish Me? What up, Reggie? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Go Cowboys. No, sir. No, sir. We will be picking for y'all. I'm picking for y'all later, though, so stay tuned. But we're up to pick 3, which is the Arizona Cardinals pick, but they're not picking here. Someone traded up. Tell me what's going on here.
Yeah, man, I decided to go with the first trade of the draft. As you see, the Tennessee Titans have that logo up there for number 3. They decided to jump their division rival, the Indianapolis Colts, make a trade with the Arizona Cardinals. So for at least the first round pick swap, and you know some other things to come in a real draft, but we're just worried about the first round for right now. So let's just say hypothetically they gave them the first in next year's draft to jump up to 3, and they're going to be selecting quarterback CJ Stroud out of the University of Ohio State or Ohio State University.
Ooh, CJ Stroud. So it's safe to say Malik Willis' season is done before it's begun.
Yeah, I mean, I think they told you that when they were starting Josh Dobbs at the end of the year, you know?
I think
that's what they were going for. But you know, I think that some team is out there is putting out these rumors about CJ Stroud, causing him to spiral downward, and I'm trying to link it, and I'm linking it to Tennessee because right now they're in the 11th spot. They're hoping that he falls, but I think by the end or when draft time comes, they're going to realize that it's no chance that he falls to 11. So they really have to make that move, jump to 3 to get the guy that they want, and that's quarterback CJ Stroud, who I believe is the most accurate passer in the draft.
Hell yeah, that boy can layer the ball all over the field. So the Titans are moving on from Tannehill to CJ Stroud. Big trade up from 11 to 3. Cardinals jump back to pick 11. And I'm glad to see my boy come off the board at number 3 because Stroud is him, bro. Stroud is like that. And I would hate to see him slide out the top 5 because that would be absolute travesty to me, which leaves number 4. Jim Irsay's Indianapolis Colts in one of the easiest picks I'm going to make in this mock draft for so many reasons. Like my guy Zach said, it's Del Rio last night. Something about this Levis kid, man. It's something about this Levis kid. He looks like he was born to be the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, and he looks like Jim Irsay's kind of guy. Need I say more? They need a quarterback. You got a quarterback. Will Levis, Kentucky, number 4 to the Indianapolis Colts.
Interesting. Even though I already knew you were going to do this, this is still interesting to me to see Will Levis go this high.
Because he shouldn't.
Yeah, and I'm not the highest on him as a prospect.
Me neither.
Man, watching Will Levis on Saturdays in 2022 and then watching Carson Wentz on Sundays in 2022, it was like watching the same guy. I mean, Will Levis is a little more athletic, but the pocket awareness, the no IQ in the
so
pocket,
frustrating.
Yeah, it was so frustrating to watch. So it scared me off Will Levis as a project, but there's tools there for sure.
Definitely tools, and he just looks like your prototypical jock, man. He looks like his name's Brock. He looked like he wore a Letterman to school every week, twice a week, and he just looks like the prototypical quarterback that Jim Irsay would want playing the quarterback of his team. On to pick number 5, the Seattle Seahawks, who should not be picking here because they were a playoff team this year, a 9-win playoff team, but they're picking here because Broncos country, let's ride, rode nothing this year, and this is the Denver Broncos pick. What are we doing here at 5?
I'm glad you mentioned that Seattle's a playoff team, and that's why I think that they're able to roll the dice here and make an investment for the future. I know that they got my man Geno. They wrote me off. I didn't write back though, Smith, but he's going to be mentoring quarterback Anthony Richardson out of the University of Florida.
Is 5 not too early for A-Rich?
I don't think so. Because I think that there's no in between for Anthony Richardson. In a couple of years, he's either going to be one of the best players in football or he's going to be a flame out. And I think you got a guy like Geno who's experienced all of that in his 10-year career, being a flame out, having a redemption story. I think that you have him for the next couple of years, and let that bun nature and groom in the oven. And Anthony Richardson, and let him be molded and turn into the guy that we all think he can be.
Love the guy. Love the personality. Love the confidence. He said he's going to wear a gold jacket one day. They say he's one of the hardest workers, and the work ethic is insane. Like, he's an insane competitor and big boomer bust candidate. Yeah, this guy is either going to be great or he's going to be in the XFL in a few years. Like, there's no in between. There's not going to be no solid here. I don't ever see him being a game managing safe quarterback. He's going to be a superstar, or he's going to be on the the Washington Defenders and the DC Defenders in a couple years. But that takes us to pick number 6, the Detroit Lions. Hard Knocks media darling Detroit Lions with their first 2 picks in the first round. This is easy. A guy that should not be on the board here right now. A guy that people consider the best defensive player, if not the best player totally in this entire class. I know that the accident happened and a couple people lost their lives, and there's even been some questions about the work ethic, some things about his pro day. Dan Campbell's the coach here. MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell. He talks about biting kneecaps. Jalen Carter looks like a guy that likes to taste the kneecaps. Come on down to the Detroit Lions at number 6. You just got the best defensive player in the draft with the 6th pick. On to the Raiders.
I agree. You potentially got the best player in the draft if you look up in the next couple of years.
Yep.
So that's a steal for the Lions at 6. Pairing him with Aiden Hutchinson on that D-line. Jesus Christ. All right. On to number 7. The Las Vegas Raiders. No matter if they change the city, the philosophy still stays the same for the Raiders. You know they love their athletic freaks. You know they love guys that run fast and move quick. And with the 7th pick in the 2023 Rio and Stunner NFL mock draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select cornerback Christian Gonzalez out of the University of Oregon.
And Commanders fans' heart just started to break a little bit for the hope that he may, for some reason, plummet down draft boards. Christian Gonzalez to the Raiders. I like that, man.
Can you name, and we're the biggest football heads that I know. Can you name the Raiders starting cornerbacks right now?
Off the top of my head, hell no.
and that's why.
Is it Rocky Sin? Is Rocky Sin one of them?
I think he might have signed with another team. I think he might have signed with another team. But that's all I need to say about this pick.
And we're fiends. Like, we follow all these teams.
Yeah, we follow everybody. Trust me. Yeah. I can name you all 31 other quarterback pairs. I don't know about the Vegas Raiders right now. But yeah, needless to say, that's why I made the pick. You're keeping the West Coast kid on the West Coast. And I think that you have potential for a true shutdown corner in Vegas.
Baller, man. I love Christian Gonzalez, man. That's my favorite cornerback in the draft. He's just scheme versatile, has the size, and he ran a 4.38 40. Like the guy, he's a coach's dream, man. They're gonna love him there in Vegas. We're on to pick number 8, the Atlanta Falcons, which is an interesting pick because I know what a lot of people are thinking. They're thinking Bijan Robinson. They have a guy there in Algier where it's similar to how we have with Brian Robinson. Like, he's good. They like him. They love him in the building. The locker room loves him. He's really solid. But, I mean, would he stop you from drafting a player of this caliber? No, but in this situation, yes, because I think their left guard left in free agency this offseason, and I'm going to draft the best offensive lineman in this draft class, according to a lot of guys. A guy listed as a tackle, but they're going to play him at guard. They're going to stick him at left guard and get it cracking. Peter Skoronski from Northwestern, alligator arms for a tackle, but very skilled, and he's going to hop right in on that left guard spot and roll in Atlanta.
That's baby Brandon Scherf right there. That's baby Brandon Scherf.
Yes, sir.
I love that pick. I love that pick for sure.
I don't think they should take a running back there. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I love Bijan, but I just can't. I can't see it, man. I can't see it. What do I think?
All right. So moving on to the 9th pick in the 2023 Rio and Stunning NFL mock draft. The Chicago Bears, man, they've been rumored to, get a tackle. They've been rumored to a lot of tackles. I even think I've even seen their name linked to like Peter Skoronski. But, we're going to switch it up over here, and we're going to get my man Justin Field, one of his guys. A guy that he balled out with at Ohio State University, and that's Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, the forgotten one.
JSN out of the Ohio State University. Like I said, man, your parent Fields are one of these guys. And I'm starting to see a running narrative in like a lot of NFL circles that, Justin Fields is up and coming. I think a lot of people look at fantasy numbers and things like that. While I don't disagree, but if you really want Justin Fields to be this guy that's really up and coming, I know you paired him with a guy like DJ Moore, but you got to give him even more weapons than that. And I think a trio of JSN, Darnell Mooney, and DJ Moore could really set Justin Fields up for some really, really nice success in the years to come.
That paired with how aggressive they were in free agency, the Chicago Bears are looking at a completely different roster, especially if Justin Fields takes that next step as a quarterback this year. I really like what you did there with Chicago. You give him someone he's familiar with. JSN, people going to know that name because people were acting like they forgot what that boy put on tape in 2022 because Garrett Wilson and Olave was on the same roster as him, and a lot of people said he was better than them. And they both went top 11 in the draft last year. So don't be surprised. And Ohio State just turns them out next year. Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going top 3 in the draft next year.
He might go number 1.
No, boy, he that good. If it wasn't for Caleb. That boy, Caleb.
If it wasn't for my guy Caleb, he'd definitely be
Moving on to pick 10 in the NFL draft, a pick that pisses me off because they should not be here, man, because Howie Roseman, my guy Brunson calls him Ski Mask Howie, they just pull off finesse after finesse, and this is the Saints pick, correct?
Yes.
This is the New Orleans Saints draft pick here at number 10. The team who should have won the Super Bowl is picking number 10 in the draft, and a player that should not be sitting on the board at number 10 is going to go opposite Hassan Reddick and absolutely wreak havoc on the NFC East, which is including our Commanders. Tyree Wilson, the guy with the wingspan like Giannis Antetokounmpo, 6'11" type wingspan, freak athlete, joins that Philadelphia Eagles team that likes to rush 4, and they get after the quarterback on a historic level. They had 4 guys in the top 10 in sacks and had over 70 sacks this year, and they're going to add Tyree Wilson to that. It gives me shivers up my spine thinking about it. It pisses me off, but the Eagles they're going to get blessed with somebody here.
Man, you're talking about they shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be here. So that's a perfect pairing. I mean, you got him and Hassan Reddick coming off the perimeter of that defense. I pray for Sam Howell, and and that's my guy. I pray for Sam Howell when we have to play the Eagles, though.
I think that that type of thing kind of sways what we're doing in the first round. Man, the boys had a sack party versus us at FedEx Field when statue-ass Carson was at the helm last year, man.
Absolutely, it was crazy. Trust me.
Remember how sick we was in
I
that
was
stadium?
going to say I was in the stands depressed. Trust, I remember. Trust me, I remember.
We was just looking at each other like, yo, we should fucking leave. Like
that's the only game that I didn't sit down the entire second half. I was just parlaying because I didn't care about that game.
Hell yeah, I was on the club level like, man, what we doing out here, man? What are we even doing right now? But with the 11th pick.
All right, so at the 11th pick, after the Arizona Cardinals traded with the Tennessee Titans, they're now selecting at 11. And this is also another cornerback pairing you might have a hard time naming. I think we got Marco Wilson on one side, and I think Byron Murphy, I think he went to the Minnesota Vikings. So we're missing another corner. We're missing another corner, and I'm going to give the Arizona Cardinals the best corner remaining in the draft, and that's cornerback Devin Witherspoon out of the University of Illinois.
Is he the best corner in the class?
He might be the best corner in the class. That's what I was going to say. He's arguably a lot of people's CB1. This is a guy that lays the wood. Physical corner, even though he's about 180 pounds. I haven't really seen a lot of people around his size playing that cornerback position that are as physical as him. And he has some of the best hips I've seen since Jair Alexander. So he's twitched up, physical corner, something that Arizona needs because they couldn't stop a nosebleed last season.
Hell yeah, and I'm gonna take your word on it because this is my DB guru in our group chat right here. Jalen grew up playing DB and he loves the DB position. So when he starts talking about hips, fluidity, getting out of your drops and all that, listen closely because this dude knows what he's talking about when it comes to DBs.
I'll be trying.
You know, the DB regulator, Jalen Morgan, but we're going to number 12. Disciple. Hell yeah, number 12 in our Rios and Stunner annual mock draft. The Houston Texans are back on the board. Are we thinking quarterback here? Are we thinking Hendon Hooker? No, we're not thinking Hendon Hooker here. We're actually thinking, we don't have the quarterback in place at the moment, but we might as well give him someone to throw to. So when we do drop a quarterback in place, you know, he got some weapons at his disposal. We got a running back in Pierce. Pierce is a baller. Pierce is nice. Let's get him a wide receiver. I'm getting him an underrated guy in this class. Jordan Addison, USC, formerly of Pittsburgh, formerly cutting up guys with Kenny Pickett, did his thing with Caleb Williams this year. Hey, they may be in the conversation for Caleb Williams next year. So you might as well put one of his receivers in place and wish for the best because if you're not going to take a quarterback, there's a good chance if you're starting Davis Mills, you're going to be picking right up top again next year.
No, I agree for sure. And I see that you didn't go quarterback with either of Houston's picks. So you might as well give Davis Mills some weapons. And I agree with the point that, hey, you might be right here with the chance to pick Caleb next year. So pair him with a guy that he has history with, a guy that he just went absolutely crazy with in 2022. You know, following the trend of, you know, the Joe Burrows and the Jamar Chases and things like that.
Moving on to Green Bay Packers, who are now picking number 13 because they just traded the greatest player in their franchise's history, Aaron Rodgers, to the Jets this week. What are we thinking here?
This pick may come to a surprise to a lot of people because I think that this guy is dropping in draft boards and his position group and everything. But I think we'll be remiss to not mention that this guy was considered a generational talent for the last 2 years in college football. His name didn't start getting smut thrown on it until a lot of his athletic numbers came back. But I'm a big believer in the tape don't lie. And his tape is amazing. And we're going to go with tight end Michael Mayer out of the University of Notre Dame.
Jordan Love gets him a bookend tight end. Okay. The Love era begins.
Absolutely. Like I said, though, you just clicked on it. He's ranked as the 29th ranked prospect in this PFN mock draft simulator. If you said that at the beginning of the year, people would have thought that he had an underwhelming season, which wasn't the case. I don't know why he's dropped so low. This is one of the best tight end prospects to come out in recent years. How soon we forget? I'm a big Michael Mayer guy. And you got to give Jordan Love some weapons because Allen Lazard and Romeo Doubs aren't cutting it.
Yep, they're not gonna get it. And Michael Mayer, Jordan Love, you got you a nice security blanket over there. I'm interested to see what Jordan Love looks like because we know nothing about this guy right now. The whole world about to find out who Jordan Love is. But I'm glad to see Rodgers leave the NFC. Hurts he's the only elite quarterback in the conference right now.
In the conference, the only one, and he got 1 year being elite. You know I'm a Jalen Hurts guy, but that can go away just as fast.
Oh yeah, so technically it's up for grabs, man. I'm praying, fingers crossed for our guy Sam Howell because there's nothing in quarterback. And then Kyler, who's probably the most talented quarterback left in the conference, he's probably not playing this year.
Right. Yeah. It's sacred out here in NFC quarterback land. It's scarce, real scarce.
Hell yeah, slim pickings right now, but hey, that's a good thing for our team. But we're up at number 14 for the New England Patriots, and we still don't know what's good with my guy, McCorkle Jones. Mac Jones, who had a really good rookie year, had a very significant sophomore slump last year. But what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of that blame on the offensive line, and we're going to upgrade it. We're going to take the best tackle in this class out of Ohio State, Mr. Paris Johnson Jr. at 14. You are a New England Patriot, and we're protecting our guy. We're going to give Mac Jones another chance. If he's trash, we'll move on in 2024 and try to get in the mix for these generational guys coming out.
Yeah, I know we like to talk about how Ron talks about position flex and things like that. Bill Belichick is the OG of that, loving guys with positional versatility, and that's Paris Johnson Jr. I think he played right guard, left guard before settling in at left tackle at Ohio State. He's nasty. I personally think he's the best tackle in the draft. So to get him at 14 is a steal for sure.
Hell yeah. And as a Washington fan, you're sick. You're sick at Paris Johnson going 2 picks before you because the best tackle in the draft almost fell down the board to Washington, who was picking at 16. But you're now up at 15 with the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers' New York Jets.
Yeah, man. For Aaron Rodgers' New York Jets, man, I think the run on tackle is going to continue going with offensive tackle out of Georgia, Broderick Jones. Broderick Jones. And the reason why I'm giving Broderick Jones to the Jets is because I think that he's a scheme fit. The Jets, they have a lot of skilled players now that they've paired with Rodgers, and I think they want to get out in space. I think that Broderick is the most athletic tackle. And right now they have 76-year-old Dwayne Brown starting at left tackle. So you gotta start investing in the future at some point. And I think a guy like Broderick Jones is perfect.
What's going on with the Mekhi Becton experiment over there?
I feel like Mekhi Becton is like a medical, like just a red flag. Like everything is hurt on that guy.
He's too big.
And my thing though is like when he played and he was healthy, he showed flashes, but they're very little flashes. So if we can even get him to be on the field, I think that he's best suited as right tackle. So if you get a healthy Mekhi Becton at the right tackle and Broderick Jones at the left tackle, you could potentially have your bookends. But I'm not going to hold that on to Mekhi Becton, not until I see him play another full season.
Okay, and on to number 16, our Washington Commanders pick, or not so much. I'm looking at the board, and my thought process here was I see Bijan, I see Brian Branch, Deontay Banks, I see Darnell Wright. I see at least 5 guys I'm willing to take here. So I'm willing to move down at least 5 spots if someone comes calling. And a team came knocking at our door. The Los Angeles Chargers hit our line and said, we want the 16th pick in the draft because we see a guy that we must have. Justin Herbert needs to add this weapon to our offense. And we are trading up for this year's generational talent running back, who we consider a top 3 player in the entire class, Bijan Robinson, a player that I see out of my eyes and project and plays like LaDainian Tomlinson. We're going to get that mirror image and we're putting him next to Justin Herbert, and he's going to be the focal point of the offense.
Not mad at that, man. You put him with that explosive offense as it is, he's going to start seeing a lot of 7-man boxes. If this was to happen, Bijan would definitely be my favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year for sure.
Oh, hell yeah, on that Chargers offense. You're up next with Pittsburgh.
Pick 17. And like I said, I had to take my heart out of it. I had to take my heart out of it because I would have loved if this guy fell to Washington at 21.
Same.
But if you look and pay attention to the Steelers roster since Mike Tomlin has been there, and I know this for a fact, Mike Tomlin is tapped into the DMV. At least 10% of his roster is always from the DMV. And about 5% of them are always Terps. So I'm going to go ahead and give him this Terp, the best Terp in this draft, and that's quarterback Deonte Banks from the University of Maryland.
Our guy is off the board. That's what happened. That's the fallback effect. You trade back, you're willing to lose on a guy. That's why you got to say, I like at least 5 players to move back 5 spots in the draft. He goes off the board to Mike Tomlin, who's from the area with those DMV ties, so he knows what the Maryland Terrapins are talking about. I'm on the board with the Lions' second pick of the first round at 18. We wanted a corner at 6, but we didn't need to take one there because the best defensive player in the draft was sitting there. So we're feeling great. We just shipped Jeff Okudah to Atlanta. So I see a corner that we love right now and fits what we do here in Detroit. I see him on the board staring me right in the face. Son of a former great linebacker. Give me Joey Porter Jr. You are a Detroit Lion. I think the Lions are going to be marveled as like the winners of the first round getting Joey Porter and Jalen Carter. They love the haul that they ended up with on night 1 of this draft.
Nah, that's a crazy haul. You get the secondary help to help the D-line and the D-line to help the secondary and vice versa. That's a crazy haul to have first night in the draft for Detroit.
Hell yeah. You are now on the clock for the Tom Brady-less Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What we doing?
With the 19th pick, I know a lot of people are predicting us to go offense. But I'm going to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the physical edge rusher out of the University of Iowa, and that's Lucas Van Ness. Like I said, physical edge rusher, and it's just somebody that I think is going to be paired with that stingy Taj Bowles run defense. Where I mean, they weren't as great last year, but we know they can get as physical as they want to be, and I think that he just fits a profile of a Tampa Bay Buccaneer for sure.
Hey, we're on the number 20 to the Seattle Seahawks with their second pick. I'm envious of all these teams with multiple picks in the first round. You know how excited these draft conversations would be for us if we had 2 first-round picks going into the whole process, bro.
Like I don't even want to talk about it, bro.
And what's pissing me off is all these teams with multiple first-round picks, except the Texans, they're all good. They're all good. The Eagles, the Seahawks, the Lions won, 9 games too? Like, all these teams with good records with multiple first-round picks. Ron, move out of the second round and get back into the first. But the Seahawks are on the clock. I could go edge here. You know, I'm thinking Miles Murphy, but instead of that, we're going to add some more offensive firepower for Geno right now. But for the future, for Anthony Richardson, when he gets out here, by the time he sees the field, Tyler Lockett may no longer be a Seattle Seahawk. So we need another technically sound speed demon opposite the DK Metcalf. And I want Zay Flowers out of Boston College. Some people say this is the best route runner in this class. You are now a Seattle Seahawk, and we close out the first round for the Seahawks with Anthony Richardson and Zay Flowers. All offense for Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks.
Nah, man. Pairing him with explosive weapons like Kenneth Walker and DK Metcalf, I think he can be an instant contributor for sure.
Hell yeah. Moving on to our squad, our Washington Commanders. You got the home team because I traded back from 16. Do us right, man.
This is a guy that I would be doing backflips if we got him at 16, to be honest. So to get him at 21 would be amazing and stock up on a couple of more picks. Like you mentioned, the Philadelphia Eagles game had us in a depressed state, and that's because our O-line was fucking terrible. So we're going to go with offensive tackle Darnell Wright out of the University of Tennessee.
Bulldog.
Big 6'5", 365-pounder who I think can start from the right tackle position with the potential to play left tackle in a pinch. And somebody that I think can be an instant contributor to this offense. Somebody that's going to protect Sam Howell and give Eric Bieniemy some of the tools that he needs to get this offense to where it needs to be.
Would you say he's a Bulldog?
Oh, our Bulldog.
Our Bulldog. If you know, you know. Darnell Wright, come on down to the Commanders. Everybody and their mamas are picking us to select Darnell Wright on Thursday, which means it's probably not happening because last year the entire world picked us to pick Chris Olave. The whole prediction video was Chris Olave, and then it ended up not happening. But we're on the 2020. We're on the pick 22. Our Beltway brothers are on the clock. I don't know what's happening over there with Lamar. He had some cryptic tweet yesterday. Him and Josina, they cooking something up over there. But it appears Lamar is going to be the quarterback of this team this year. And they got Odell Beckham. They signed him to a nice, substantially sized contract as well. We want to keep adding weapons for Lamar because people tell us that we never add weapons for him. So we're going to go get – this feels like a Baltimore Ravens-ass pick because – he fits the same type of profile as the receivers that usually don't hit for them. Give me Quentin Johnson, TCU. We're betting on the size and the traits, and we're trying to turn a blind eye to a lot of the inconsistencies he shows in his tape. And he's going to come to add to Bateman and Odell Beckham to give Lamar Jackson what should be his best crop of weapons yet.
You're really stocking up weapons for Lamar, huh?
We tried to.
That man, Mark Andrews, she ain't got no excuse now.
None. Stay on the field. Get it done.
All right, moving on to pick 23.
Now it gets interesting. Shit's about to get interesting now.
The Minnesota Vikings had one of the worst defenses that I can ever remember of all time. They were bad everywhere outside of like the edge rusher position. And I don't think they reached for a corner or a linebacker here. So I'm going to give them arguably the second best D tackle in the draft. And that's D tackle Mozzie Smith from Michigan.
Ooh, why Mozzie over a guy like Kalijah Cansey?
Kalijah, he reminds me more of like a penetrator. And I think that with the Minnesota Vikings defense, they need a run stuffer. And I think that Mozzie might be the second best run defender in the draft. He's physical. He knows how to use his hands really well. Won't give you as much as Kalijah as much in the pass game. But I think that they're looking for a solid run defender because you saw what Saquon did to him in the regular season and in the playoffs.
The nasty.
Yeah. So I think that's what they need at pick 24. 23.
Yep. We're at 24 right now with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going over there and looking at the big board. There are two premier edge rushers on the board still. Nolan Smith of Georgia and Miles Murphy of Clemson. Two guys 13 and 16 on this draft board, and most guys see them going somewhere in the top 15. So this is interesting right now. But for Jacksonville, I'm going with a Swiss Army knife player that could play corner, that could play nickel, that could play safety. You move him all around the defense. Absolute weapon, versatile. Give me Brian Branch, a guy people look at his tape and say he's one of the best football players, period, in this entire class. And we don't feel like he should be on the board here at 24. We're taking Brian Branch in Jacksonville, and we're moving on to pick number 25, our division rival, New York Giants.
All right, on to pick 25. The Giants don't have much at the receiver position. And I know they just traded for Darren Waller. And I don't think they reached for a wide receiver here. We just got finished talking about how suspect this wide receiver class was. But I do think that they get another pass catching option to pair with Darren Waller to give, Daniel Jones a lot of middle of the field looks. I don't think he has the strongest arm to make those crazy throws outside the number. So I'm going to pair him with tight end Dalton Kincaid from Utah.
So you're that two tight end set with Kincaid and Waller. My God.
The two tight end set where you can not show too much and have a base defense, and then Saquon can eat them up as well. You can motion either Waller or Kincaid out wide as well. Both of them are capable of playing in space, so they create a lot of mismatches there.
And as Jerry Jones making this next pick here at 26, this pick just pissed me off. I'm calling Joe Shane and the Giants, and I'm cussing them out a little bit because that's who we wanted to take here at 26. Dalton Schultz just left the Cowboys. We were going to go get Dalton Kincaid. We were going to leave one Dalton for another one.
Dalton.
We got to change pace now for Dallas. Dallas doesn't have many holes in their roster because they have a good roster. They have what they need to contend. They just always find a way to fuck up once the playoffs start because it's what we know Dallas to do. But we're going to keep making our strength stronger. And our defensive line is already crazy. We're adding an athletic freak. We're adding Kalijah Cansey from Pittsburgh to add to that fold. Mix them up in there on that D-line. Dallas is going to continue to be a good football team, especially on paper. Will they get it done? Probably not, but they're adding another freak up front. And another thing that Washington needs to be worried about when we drop Sam Howell back for passes next year.
Oh, man. I did not think that this guy would be on the board at 27. I did not think that this guy would be on the board at 27 after his Olympic-style combat performance. So we're going to go ahead and give the Buffalo Bills some more pass rushers because, they claim they always need an edge rusher to close out games, and Von Miller isn't going to be able to play forever. So I'm going to give them outside linebacker, edge, Nolan Smith from the University of Georgia.
Ooh, Nolan Smith to Buffalo. I love it. 4-3.
Yeah, 4-3. They lost their athletic freak in Tremaine Edwards, so why not get another one to put on that defense?
Yep, and to continue the trend of edge rushers that are not supposed to be on the board right now, but have somehow fell into the laps of two of the best teams in the NFL. Myles Murphy, you are a Cincinnati Bengal. You're pairing him up with Sam Hubbard. You got some dogs on the edges over there. The rich get richer as these two last edges come off the board in the late 20s, the two Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, man. Moving on to 29. As we get later and later in the draft, I think this is where teams start to draft for needs and things like that. New Orleans, they got their quarterback. Michael Thomas set to return. I think that they're pretty set on offense. Olave had a big year. We'll see what they do with the running back position in Kamara, but I think I'm going to give them an instant contributor on that defense, a run stopper, somebody that I actually saw play in high school, and it just wasn't fair. He was the same size in high school that he was now. And that's defensive lineman Brian Bresee from Clemson University.
Now, he was that big in high school?
If you go, if you're watching this, go back and look at Brian Bresee's high school film. It's like some shit that he should get locked up for.
It was that violent.
It was horrible.
And I'm back on the clock at number 30 from these annoying ass Eagles. And I hate this pick so much because they already got Tyree Wilson at number 10, who I don't feel like who should have been on the board there. Now, they just lost Miles Sanders this offseason. They're about to get the second best running back and possibly the best dual threat running back in this class, Jahmyr Gibbs from Alabama. Another weapon to give Jalen Hurts, who already has weapons galore with Dallas Goedert, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Quez Watkins. They just add Jahmyr Gibbs to that mix as well. The rich are getting very much richer right now, man.
Bro, are you an Eagles fan, low-key? Like, what are you doing right now? What are we doing right now? You just setting them up to beat everybody's ass next year. Like,
be right back where they was this year, up top the NFC East.
Nah, facts, for sure. All right, to close out the draft, because remember, pick 32 was voided by the Miami Dolphins. To close out the draft with pick 31 of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, I think that they get some help on that D-line, man. And, Chris Jones can't do it forever. They lost Frank Clark, and Chris Jones can't be the only guy doing it. I know they got Karlaftis on the outside, but I think they get Chris Jones' eventual replacement and arguably the biggest athletic freak in the entire draft. This guy ran a 4.49 at 280 pounds. Like what? Like what, bro? And that's defensive tackle Adetomowa Adebawore. I think I did pretty good with that.
Hey, this man been on his Duolingo out here. Okay, let me
find a little Rosetta Stone. I did a little Rosetta Stone class.
Oh yeah, my man did that jump, bro. You killed that shit. Okay, I see you pronounced that jump to perfection. I'm about to pull up the draft so we can see in totality how we did, and that's gonna wrap up this year's mock draft. Let's pull this up and take a look at some of this real quick and see. Do we agree? Like how are we feeling with our picks this year? Do we feel like we're gonna do better than last year?
Oh, absolutely, bro. We can't go worse than 2-3 for 32. We can't do that.
That joke was terrible last year. What's your favorite picks you made in this class, man?
Oh, my favorite picks that I made. I love the Jackson Smith and Jigba pick to Chicago, pairing him with Justin Fields. I love the Michael Mayer pick because it seems like everybody's sleeping on him, and I'm not sure why. And if I had to round it out, that Deonte Banks pick to the Steelers, those are probably my 3 favorite picks that I made. Just taking my heart out of it and something that I really can see being done come draft day.
Hell yeah, man.
How about you?
Me personally, first of all, Jalen Carter at 6 for the Detroit Lions. That's ridiculous. That and the Tyree Wilson pick for Philadelphia. That's crazy value right there. Tyree Wilson to the Eagles is a nightmare because they had they almost had more sacks than any team in the history of the league. That it's frightening because they're already a frightening unit. Adding a guy with a 6'11" wingspan, that joint is terrible, man. How about some of the picks where you go back and say, I could have did something different there. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have picked them there.
Not to toot my own horn, but it's only one. And I mentioned it as soon as we finished the recap of the draft. I might give Hendon Hooker to the Minnesota Vikings at 23. Kirk's on his last year of his deal. And 23 for Mozzie Smith is a tad bit of a reach. I think that they did fill a positional need though with the defensive tackle position. But once we talked about it, I can definitely see a team in the back half of the first round taking a flyer on Hendon Hooker to get him under contract for those 5 years.
Hell yeah. And for me personally, I think Seattle, I could have probably took one of the edges, Nolan Smith, or no, probably Miles Murphy. Miles Murphy would probably be a better fit for Seattle. I could have took one of those guys there. And for the Texans' second pick with Jordan Addison, I probably could have done something else there. I could have took Hendon Hooker there, but I don't know. I just can't see them taking Hendon Hooker at number 12 there.
Bro, the only reason I can't say no is because draft is so unpredictable, bro. Like we went 2 for 32 last year, and we thought we had it down pat.
We thought we was getting it in.
That's why I can't say no to anything. Nothing surprises me about the draft, bro.
Hell yeah, nothing surprises me about the draft as well. But so my guy T Money Entertainment asked in the chat, like, what do you think about the team not picking up Chase Young's? We've been talking about this in the chat for a minute. We kind of expected this at some point. What do you think about the Chase Young option not being picked up?
Like you said, we expected it. I think that the biggest thing that it shows though is that the people in that building that know a lot more about him and his body than we do, I think that they know that he can't get to that 2020 form where he wasn't even like the generational type player that we thought he was going to be then. I think that they know that he can't get to that level of explosiveness, athleticism anymore. And I think that they're just going to ride out this last year. If he balls out, it happens. If he doesn't, that's what we thought anyway. So I think that that's what they do with that. That's what was behind the decision that they made.
Hey, you think there's any chance we're shopping this man during the draft this weekend? You think anybody hitting our lineup for 99?
I don't think so. The only reason why I don't is because the timing of it. I think that they might look around and see like what they can potentially get for Chase Young. They're going to be kind of upset when they see that his value is not that high. But also you got to understand that the team that trades for him has until Tuesday to make a decision if they're going to pick up his option. And I don't think anybody that doesn't know him from a can of paint is going to do that, especially with his injury history.
Facts. I agree. I appreciate you, Cold Talker. He said yesterday's show was fire. I'm in favor of executing multiple first-round trade backs to secure more picks in round 2, which has some stellar O-linemen and tight end. Yeah, I don't think everybody on the panel was in agreement about how we moved, but we ended up with a fire haul. Bruh, if we walked away with John Michael Smith, Dalton Kincaid, and Anton Harrison, we're all doing daps and pounds at our draft party at Todd's house tomorrow. Like,
yes, that's if the Dalton Kincaid falls to 47. You see, we took him at 27 in this draft.
Facts. He's definitely not falling to 47. My guy said, imagine that 3-headed monster of Robinson, Gibson. Yeah, the law firm. That sounds like a law firm. Robinson, and Gibson, man. I would love it, but I don't think we're bold enough to make that pick. And to Deion Henley, the top middle linebacker is going to be going in the 80s to 100 range. Ain't nobody going in the first round of this linebacker class this year.
We picked Henley yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, we got him too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Our class ended up being like that. It's not very realistic, probably, but it definitely ended up being a good haul, y'all. They was hating, even though they're like, who the fuck is Keaton Mitchell? Like, bro, Keaton Mitchell was like that to me, man. But as we get ready for this draft tomorrow, man, what are you looking forward to see tomorrow night? Not even just on a Commander's standpoint. What are you looking forward to when the first round of the draft tomorrow?
Man, I want to see where CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson go. I think that those two picks are going to shape the first round. Depends if a team trades up. Depends on if they drop. I think that that's going to shape the first round. Them and where the top offensive tackles go and how early they go, because I think that that's going to make Washington's decision for them. If we get a guy like Darnell Wright, at that 16th pick, perfect. They might take him. But if they start to go early, like if Perry Johnson goes at 3, like some teams are mentioning and some rumors have him going, then that run on tackle could be a lot earlier than 16, and we might be walking out assed out as far as the tackle position.
Hell yeah. The quarterbacks obviously are the most interesting thing, and to see when that tackle and that cornerback run when they start, because when they start, they're going to start coming off the board prevalently. My man said Coach Ron was wilding in the mock draft last night. That War Room, if you ain't peeping, make sure you watch it because we was cutting up in there last night. I'm going to be with these dudes on live tomorrow. Jalen going to be sick of me, man. We was on the stream last night, today, and we going to be together tomorrow for the draft party, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Likewise, bro. I can't wait. Like 3 years annual, bro. We done got some salt in the game now. I can't wait for the tradition.
Hell yeah. Every year we got to watch the draft together with our group chat guys, but let them know where to find you, where they can subscribe and follow you and keep up with your content. We can get out of here because you know LeBron's playing, and me and you don't play about our LeBron, bro.
We can't. We're going to watch the GOAT. Bye. Go James. Bye. All right. So really quickly, though, if you see in the box right here, that's my Instagram name, @BleedingBNG, @BLEEDING, that's our Instagram name. Our Twitter handle is spelled a tad bit different. That one's BLEEDINBNG. I'm Jalen Morgan from the Bleeding Burgundy and Gold podcast. Be sure to check out our episodes. I'm going to have weekly YouTube drops. I'm coming back. I went in a little hibernation over the offseason, but it's draft time. And once the draft is here, that's technically the start of the NFL season. So I'm going to have a lot more content. Let's get me to 1,000 subscribers, man.
Let's get him there. There's no reason he's not there. Let's get him there ASAP. If you're not subbed up to Jalen Morgan on YouTube, Jalen Morgan, Bleeding BNG, make sure you sub up my guy and follow him on social media because on like Twitter, like not everybody's keeping it 100,000 over there. There's a lot of politically correct, safe things going on, but Jalen is one of those dudes that always calls it how he sees it, and it may cause a stir on the timeline from time to time.
Oh, yeah, if you're looking for your pot to be stirred, I'm the guy to do it. They call me the pot stirrer, man. They call me the pot stirrer. So go ahead. If you like that, if you like a little, not hot takes, because it's truth takes. It's the truth. Mm-hmm. But if you don't like the wool being pulled over your eyes, and if you like real, raw, unfiltered commentary, go ahead and check out Bleeding BNG, man. That's what we come with.
Hell yeah. You already know the vibes over here. Rio Robinson at Rio _Robinson 91 on social media. Just for one last look at our mock draft. Rio and Stunner's 2023 NFL mock draft. Give us some good luck because last year we went 2 for 32. Let's hope there's one pick less. So there's one pick less that we could get wrong this year. Let's hope we kill it in this draft. Until next time, you will see us on stream tomorrow for the whole entire first round, cutting up and having a good time. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Rio, out.
Peace.